Are organizations sometimes better at talking about value that they create for society than they are at actually addressing the experience of work inside their own walls?
Well, what are you actually physically doing on site? So that's fine dealing with your EAPs and that, which I'm sure some of you here today have got within your own organisations. But there's the other aspect that I've also seen, some of you might have experienced it or come across it, some of you may not, is they're actually starting to ask for it in pre-qualification. How are you managing mental health or stress, or just basically literally they'll use the terminology of psychosocial risk and how you're doing it.
And often well-being, transparently, it's always, it's that fluffy stuff, isn't it? But actually the justification now is to deliver our social value commitments on the facade, on the front, you can be ticking lots of boxes, but whether or not internally that's actually making transformational change to the well-being agenda or the internal well-being practices, there can be conflict. Is it the job? Do we need to design the job around the person rather than thinking this is the job and you will just fit the job? And one of it is around this resilient, innovative, flexible supply chain. And that's to support the economic growth through enabling, the opportunities for small businesses and voluntary or, enterprises out there.
Who's accountable and who's responsible? And I think if we're looking at building a ratio over a project, not just sort of who's accountable for social value, who's accountable for psychosocial risk mitigation or mental health, is potentially looking at building out over a project so it becomes baked in. Mental health first aiders often show a clear social return on investment. But psychosocial hazard management is less recognised.
Not that there's anything wrong with what I'm going to say, is the focus seemed to be, there was no thought process, I don't believe, was necessarily about social value. It was about the fact of trying to promote mental health and trying to obviously mitigate that as best as we possibly could, because it's showing you that you are taking the time to go and do something, whatever that might be, within your organisation to support the community that's around you, whether it be at project level, whether it be near your office or whatever it might be.
Mental health first aid is giving a huge return on investment from a social value point of view. It's almost a business imperative that you have mental health first aiders in an organisation.
If people are supported with the right equipment, the right training, they got the right resources, they understand their role. We're not reinventing the wheel here. This is the fundamentals of running a successful business.
They still have a perception that well-being and all of that is a bit of fluffy stuff. They still may have the perception that social value is fluffy stuff. So I need to make sure that I correlate that to, okay, that's fine. But if I don't deliver this part of the contract, what potentially does it mean? Because your competitor is going to add in all of this to win. I think it brought you that seat to the table, isn't it? Where you probably didn't have the seats at the table. By having the social value, it's definitely what I'm using to drive well-being is social value.